Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the North Melbourne versus Port Adelaide game. And I mean, it was a pretty easy one to predict. At quarter time though, it was 8-all, and I thought this one's a little bit off, but obviously North Melbourne, just their class sort of shone through in the end, and it was really a Riddell and Garner show in the end. And so they ended up winning pretty convincingly by over 10 goals. I think it was, 63-point margin, 87-24. So pretty convincing win in the end. But it was a little bit shaky early. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the review. So, as you can see here, 87-24, so a little bit more convincing than it would have had at the quarter-time break, being 8-all, and especially after, I think Port kicked the first goal, so it was something like, I want to say 87-17, after Port had scored the first 7 or so points. They might have only scored the first 6, but still 87-18 is sort of indicative of what this game sort of became after a quick start from Port. If we look at the stats here, you'll see Riddell and Gardner actually 139 and 140. But look at the time on ground difference. And you'll actually, I think I tweeted about this. Riddell came on at 8:59 in the first quarter to go. Had sat the first, 8 minutes off on the bench. By about the 2-minute mark or something, she'd scored, I think, 40 points in about 5 or so minutes. It was the most ridiculous sort of run that I've ever seen a player go on, especially because I don't think she necessarily started that quickly. I think she scored about 6 points in the first 2 minutes or whatever, and then she just went and went and went. Trying to find here, 4 days ago, was it? No, it wouldn't have been 4 days ago, so it must have been in my replies or whatever that I tweeted about this. I tweet quite a lot, to be honest. Where is it? Going down here. Riddell, yeah, she had 27 points in 5 minutes, I believe. And then she ended up in getting to 40 at the quarter time break, which would be 40 in 9 minutes. And I think she might have even done it quicker than that, as in she didn't do anything in the last 35-40 seconds, so she effectively was getting 5 points a minute. And at that rate, that is a ridiculous rate. And even if I bring up the actual stats for the quarter on the AFL app here, she had 8 touches, 5 kicks, 3 handballs, 1 mark, 4 tackles. It was the 4 tackles that I think I was surprised about. Given Riddell's stature, like that of Conti, is she really does not necessarily get involved in the tackles as much. She's more of a disposal player. So if we look at here, you'll see 13, 17, 23... 33, 40 tackles through 7 games is actually quite surprising, to be honest, that she's that high. So I'm actually surprised looking at those numbers that she's that high. Obviously, it's not the level of Marinoff, who has, 31, 44, 58, 66, 75 through 7. So obviously Marinoff is 10 and a lot per game. Whereas Riddell is just under 6. So there's still a 5 tackle gap, which is 20 points in itself, but she makes that up with getting disposal-wise, 30 odd per game probably, and Marinoff is around about that, round about 5 or so less. So that's why you still see Marinoff getting more stats, but you see Riddell not trailing her by not that much. So I still think Riddell was one of those perfect pickups in the end. I just had to wait a little bit because I believe I picked her up after a 151. And obviously if I picked up Gardner instead, and Gardner went 154, 121, 192, they're pretty much, I think, done the same relatively post that round 2 game. So I mean, it was still a good pickup. Would have probably wanted Garner, but Riddell wasn't the worst pickup in the end. Bruton a 124, and she's just shot up the rankings recently. I mean, she's gone, I think, a 110, a 116, a 110, and now a 10. If we look at Bruton, now a 124, I believe, after a 61. Yeah, 110, 116, 124. What's next? They play Melbourne, so that's going to be a tough game. But with Bruton's way of playing, with a 26, 5, and 8, she has a really nice split, in my opinion. So I think she can do quite well. So I wouldn't be surprised if she puts up another 90 or so. Then we go O'Loughlin 93, Sheila 77, King 68, I believe it was in the Melbourne game that we had a 5-goal. That's why. I thought we had a major goal scorer in this game, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like O'Loughlin at 3 goals. It was the most. King, 27 touches for only 68. Didn't get involved in the tackling front. If we look at King here, it's Mia King that we're talking about here, 68. Yeah, she just very handball heavy and no tackling compared to the previous week. Seems like Bruton's taken that role over. And good thing they didn't go for the Emma King, the ruckman, the forward ruckman, etc., as she was down here at 52 points. You can see actually very high scoring fantasy points all round. Main 3 scorers, then you have O'Loughlin, and then the rest don't really matter terribly much, but still it's good to see that they have 40s, 50s, and 60s here as well for these sort of players. The only thing that sucks was Carney at 55. I think she got a little bit unlucky in the scoring. I think there was 1 or 2 handballs or something that they missed, I'm pretty sure, from Carney. So I was expecting her score to actually go up towards that 60 range, but so be it. I guess most people have her, and she'll return back to her form, to be honest with you. She's averaging 71.6, which I believe is the second or third highest defender. Yeah, it was the second highest before Thomas decided to drop a 111, which we'll get to in the near future. But I still think Carney is value, and she's just ever reliable. I mean, you see with, I got rid of Head now, or at least I'm going to get rid of her, as you can see, with Bring and Stannett. But Stannett has a low of 54. Carney has a low of, that was a 55 low. And outside of that, it was a 63, and then it goes into the 70s. So, and, you know, you've got, who we're talking about here, Tiny Evans as well, 49. So a lot of these, and Charlotte Thomas has a 36, but that 36 had some unforeseen circumstances. You had Hannah Priest as well at a 30 here, playing down back, and we'll have to actually see if that down back role holds or not, depending on who they bring in or whatever. Because if Priest is down back, I do not want a piece of that. So I might have to do a double trade, and potentially look at the likes of getting Priest down to, I really want to get Emerson, but I don't think I can get her. But maybe punting it on O'Driscoll or something like that would work for cash reasons why I'm getting Stannett as well, if Priest is still named in that halfback spot. As I really want her on ball, as her on ball numbers are 10 times better than her, or we're at least 2 or 3 times better on ball than she is at halfback. Moving on to the likes of Port, and this isn't really much to talk about Port-wise. You see 84-71, they just played a tough side and got smoked. That's as simple as that after quarter time. You look at the stats here, and it actually shows that their quarter time was so low. And it actually shows that that the second best quarter for fantasy points for North was the first, even though it was 8-all. So it just sort of shows that they were very lucky to, I guess, keep it at 8-all in that first quarter, and then it really just the class of North shone through in the last 3 quarters as they were more efficient. And I think it was the last quarter where they just blew them away. I think they kicked 5 or so goals in the last to nothing or something. It was 5 goals, 2 to 1 goal in the last quarter, where they really just blew them away and really blew out that margin. So, Phillips, 57. She actually started well. I think she had a 26-point quarter first. 26-5, nothing, 26. So, it will be interesting to see the splits there of where she played. Don't really like that. Schultz, 65. So, it was probably almost better to just keep Schultz for the 2 weeks and then move her around, move her up, but so be it. I lost like 30 points that way, but gained 10 points back or something. But, I guess decisions. Houghton, 84, don't really think there's much into that, to be honest. I know that she's sort of she sort of plays a key forward role, so she's given away a lot of free kicks, which left her 90 on the board there, as you can see, with a -9 free kick differential. Doutwick, I think, is one that's just would be better in a much better side, to be honest with you. I think she has the potential, but it's just Port are just not the greatest side this year. Fowley, Schultz, Maloney, Dutton, Stewart, Phillips, Hammond, Borg. Borg is as I believe I mentioned in my my rookies for trade targets. 44 for her isn't too bad. 9, 3, and 4. So that's not too bad. And other than that, nothing much to go on. But anyway, that pretty much wraps up the recap here of the North versus Port Adelaide game, and I guess I'll see you guys back here for the Carlton Collingwood and the West Coast Melbourne game, and then on Wednesday you'll see the team review for round 7, and then trade targets, etc. coming up, and we'll get to that in due course. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.